You are losing her right this moment. Every word you speak, chasing validation, every desperate justification, every unanswered message you insist on doubling down on with another message. You think you're fighting for her, but you're only confirming what she already suspected. You have no other options. And that kills any spark that was left. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the single phrase that redefines the entire power dynamic in any interaction with a woman. A phrase that doesn't work by magic, but because it carries a mindset that activates primitive neural circuits of value reevaluation. And if you don't implement this in the next 72 hours, prepare to repeat the same cycle of disrespect, endless tests, and the constant feeling of never being enough. Let me tell you what no one has told you. You've been trained to believe that you need to explain, argue, prove your point, win the logical discussion, that if you just present the right facts, she'll understand, and things will get better. That's the biggest lie you've been sold. Attraction doesn't respond to logic. Respect isn't earned through arguments. Every time you step into the rationalization ring, you've already lost. Why? Because you accepted her frame. You validated the premise that you need to defend yourself, that your value is on trial, that she is the judge, and you are the defendant. And the moment you step into the defendant's box, she unconsciously places you in the low-value category. It's not malice on her part, it's biology, it's pure neuroscience. The female brain is programmed to detect signals of status, security, and strength. And emotional reactivity, desperate seeking of approval, endless justifications, all of this screams a single message. Low value, no options, insecure. The truth that will redefine everything for you today is this. Attraction and respect are reestablished not when you explain your value, but when you demonstrate strategic indifference and unwavering self-respect. When you show, through your non-reaction, that your value is not for sale, not up for negotiation, not dependent on her approval. Here's the formula that governs your love life right now. The more you react emotionally to her tests, the more power you give away. The more you chase validation, the less attractive you become. Think of every interaction as a game of chess. You don't win by reacting impulsively to every opponent's move. You win by protecting your king, your intrinsic value, and controlling the center of the board, which is the frame of the interaction. The man who understands this doesn't play her game. He redefines the entire board. And the phrase I'm going to teach you is just the visible symptom of an internal mindset of someone who has already understood that he doesn't need to prove anything, that he's willing to walk alone, that he has standards and maintains them, no matter the cost. This phrase is not a memorized script. It is the externalization of a reconstructed identity. And without that mindset behind it, any phrase you say will sound empty and desperate. Now, let's dissect the exact tactics that separate the man who is constantly tested and disrespected from the man she rethinks everything about. Pay attention, because each of these tactics is a move on the board that redefines the game. Tactic 1. The reframe phrase. This is when you subvert her expectation and reverse the burden of proof. She makes a disrespectful comment, something that diminishes you in front of friends, or questions your masculinity. The instinctive reaction is to defend yourself, explain, or swallow it silently, with anger simmering inside. Both destroy you. The reframe would be for you to pause, look her in the eyes calmly, and ask, "Interesting that you think that. What makes you feel the need to say something like that? Do you see what happened? You didn't deny. You didn't argue. You threw the ball back, with neutral curiosity, putting her in the position to explain her behavior. You are not in the defendant's box. She is. And that redefines the entire dynamic in 3 seconds. Tactic 2, strategic silence. Pausing and not reacting immediately to a provocation or test communicates more emotional control than 1,000 words. She tries to create jealousy, mentions another guy, makes an ambiguous comment to see if you'll freak out. The low-value man reacts immediately, shows insecurity, attacks, questions. The high-value man looks at her, smiles slightly, perhaps even agrees ironically, and changes the subject or continues what he was doing. Her silence, waiting for your emotional outburst, becomes deafening. And in that silence, She begins to reevaluate. Does he not care? Do I not have the power I thought I had over him? Does he have other options? These unconscious questions are the beginning of renewed attraction. Tactic 3. Investment withdrawal. Reducing effort and attention when she demonstrates disrespect or lack of reciprocity. She cancels a date last minute without a real justification for the third time. The fatal error is to insist. Ask what happened. Try to reschedule immediately. Show that you are desperate for her attention. The correct move is simply to say, "Okay, I understand. Let me know if you can organize something another time," and genuinely focus on other things. Your life, your projects, your friends, other options. You are not punishing. You are respecting yourself and redistributing your time to those who value it. And when she realizes that easy access to you is over, that you are no longer emotionally available like a dog waiting for scraps, something changes. She starts to invest. Tactic 4. The behavior mirror. Reflect her attitude neutrally so she perceives the dynamic. She's being evasive about plans, giving vague answers, keeping you on standby while she evaluates other options. Instead of begging for definition or ruminating on anxiety, you calmly say, "I notice you're having trouble committing. When you have clarity, let me know." And you genuinely disconnect emotionally from that outcome. You just mirrored her ambiguity back, without judgment, but with a clear communication that you won't be stuck in this limbo. Either she defines herself or you move on. It's that simple. Tactic 5. The escalation of standards. Gradually increasing the requirements for interaction, communicating your value and boundaries. She's always late, 15 minutes, half an hour, and you've always waited, showing that your time is worthless, that you have nothing more important going on in your life. It's time to escalate. You say firmly, but without anger, "I value punctuality. If you can't be on time, we'll need to adjust our plans, or the meeting won't be possible." And you follow through. The next time she's late without notice, you simply leave or cancel. This isn't pettiness, it's self-respect, and self-respect is an aphrodisiac. Tactic 6. The clarification question. Instead of reacting emotionally, ask her to explain the intention behind an ambiguous comment or action. She says, "You're always so busy." The tone is a veiled accusation that you're not giving enough attention. The mistake is to justify yourself. "No, honey, I've been working a lot, but..." You just entered her frame. The move is to ask with genuine curiosity, "What do you mean by busy?" You are asking her to be specific, to step out of vague emotional manipulation and articulate exactly what is bothering her. Most of the time she can't, because it wasn't about you being busy. It was a test to see if you would squirm seeking approval, and you didn't take the bait. Now let's look at real men who are living the hell of reactivity and validation seeking, so you can see the invisible cost you are paying every day. Jung is 32, a programmer, and has been dating for 2 years. His girlfriend makes jokes about his weight, about his hobbies, about the fact that he prefers to stay home programming rather than go out to parties. And she does this in front of his friends. Every time. Jung always laughed awkwardly or tried to justify himself. "Oh, but I'm trying to lose weight, it's just been busy." What Jung didn't realize is that every justification was a confirmation for her that he accepts being treated this way, that he has no boundaries, that he needs her approval more than she needs his respect. Today, Jung feels diminished, has completely lost passion in the relationship. His sex life is non-existent, and he has crises of self-confidence, even at work. He has become a shadow, and the woman who should be by his side is unconsciously pushing him down because he allowed it, because he validated this behavior from the very first test. Pedro is 28, works in sales, meets women online. The pattern always repeats. Nice conversation, she seems interested, they schedule a date, she cancels last minute, or simply disappears for days. Pedro does what most do. He insists. He sends more messages, tries to re-engage, offers other day and time options, shows excessive understanding. What Pedro doesn't understand is that every additional message after ghosting is a luminous billboard saying, "I have no other options. I am desperate for your attention. You can treat me like trash, and I'll still be here." And the female brain reads that instantly and classifies low value. Pedro lives in constant frustration, feels his time is not valued, accumulates dozens of conversations that slowly die, and the feeling of inadequacy only grows. Carlos is 40, an entrepreneur, divorced for 3 years, trying to date again. Women seem interested at first, impressed by his stability, his maturity, but soon the pattern emerges. They start canceling important appointments, trying to control his schedule, making increasingly intense tests. And Carlos, afraid of losing the chance after a difficult divorce, gives in. He changes meetings, puts aside his boundaries, constantly justifies himself. The result? Superficial relationships that never deepen, the feeling of being used only for status or financial resources, and the frustration of never finding a real connection. Carlos doesn't realize that the problem isn't the quality of the women he meets. It's the message he's been sending from the first interaction. My value is negotiable. I need you more than you need me. You can test me all you want, and I'll accept it. These 3 men, in completely different situations, are making the same reactive mistakes that are destroying any chance of respect and attraction. And you are probably making at least half of them right now. Error 1. Over-explaining, justifying yourself. Every time you feel the need to explain your choices, your actions, your life to her as if you needed permission, you appear to be seeking approval. And seeking approval is repellent. It instantly diminishes your value and credibility. The high-value man simply acts and communicates decisions. He doesn't ask for validation. Error 2. Arguing, debating. When you enter a discussion, trying to logically prove you are right, you have already entered her frame. You validated the premise that the problem is you, that you need to defend yourself. And you will waste energy in a battle you cannot win because attraction is not a philosophical debate. It is an emotional and instinctive response that happens outside of her consciousness. Error 3. Seeking validation, seeking approval, constantly asking if she's happy, if you're doing things right, if she likes you. This signals deep insecurity and emotional dependence. It kills attraction. It kills respect. It turns you into an emotional accessory, not a desirable partner. Error 4. Reacting with anger, with visible frustration. When you explode emotionally because she tested you or said something provocative, you confirm that she has total control over your emotions. You gave her the remote control to your emotional state. And this gives her power and encourages more disrespect, because unconsciously she has lost confidence in your ability to emotionally lead the relationship. Error 5. Chasing, insisting after a clear no or obvious disinterest. Sending 10 messages when she replied to 1. Calling 3 times in a row, showing up uninvited. All of this conveys absolute desperation and lack of options. And if you have no other options, why should she value you? Scarcity of value is repellent. Abundance is magnetic. Error 6. Trying to buy attraction with gifts, excessive favors, unconditional availability. You become a resource, a payer, a unilateral provider, not a desirable partner she wants to win over. You positioned yourself as a consolation prize, not a first choice. And she will treat you exactly like that. So, what do? How do you break out of this destructive cycle and redefine the dynamic? Step 1. Identify the test. Start recognizing communication patterns that seek to destabilize you, that test your boundaries, that question your value. Ambiguous comments, provocations, jealousy baiting, unjustified cancellations, veiled or explicit disrespect. All are tests. And tests are not bad. They are inevitable. She needs to know if you are really who you project yourself to be or if you crumble under pressure. The problem has never been the test. It's how you respond. Step 2. Breathe and recalibrate. Before responding to any test, take a conscious pause. 3 deep breaths. Step out of the limbic system's reactivity and activate your prefrontal cortex. Ask yourself, how would a high-value man who respects himself, who has options, respond to this? It's not about repressing emotion. It's about not being hijacked by it. Emotional control does not mean absence of emotion. It means conscious choice of how to express. Step 3. Apply the reframe phrase. Use the strategic communication you learned here. Invert the frame. Re-establish your position of value. Communicate your boundaries calmly, firmly, and without seeking approval. It can be one of the 6 tactics I showed you or a variation adapted to the situation. The important thing is that you are not defending yourself. You are redefining the board. Interesting that you think that. What makes you feel the need to say something like that? That's just one. Create your own from the correct mindset. Step 4. Observe the reaction. After applying the reframe or strategic silence or investment withdrawal, observe how she responds. This gives you valuable information. Will she double down and escalate the disrespect? Then you have information about her character and whether it's worth continuing to invest there. Will she back down, recalibrate, and start treating you better? Then you just passed her test and re-established respect. Use her reaction to adjust your next moves. Chess, remember? Step 5. Consistently reinforce. Boundaries. This is where most people fail. You apply it once. It works. She backs down, and you relax, returning to old patterns. And in 2 weeks, you're back in the same hell. Consistency is everything. Maintain your standards. Every time. Don't negotiate your boundaries. Don't make exceptions to not lose her. If you make an exception, you communicate that your boundaries were a bluff. And bluffs are detected instantly. Reinforce the new pattern until it becomes the new reality of the relationship. This takes time, it takes repetition, but it is the only way to consolidate lasting respect. Now it's time for the truth. You have a choice to make, and that choice has an expiration date. You can close this video, mentally agree with everything I said, and tomorrow morning when she tests you again, do exactly what you've always done. Justify yourself. Explain yourself. Seek validation. React emotionally. And the next 6 months, the next 2 years, the next 5 years will be an exact repetition of the hell you are living now. Or you can do something different. In the next 72 hours, you will inevitably encounter a situation, a message, a comment, an attitude that tests you. You will feel the reactivity rising. And at that moment, you will have to choose. Will I react as I always have and get the same result? Or will I pause, breathe, and apply one of these tactics even if I'm scared, even if I don't know the outcome? Because here's the secret no one told you. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence is built through action. You won't feel confident before setting your first real boundary. You'll feel scared. You'll feel like you might lose her. And you know what? You might. She might actually leave. But let me ask you a question. Was the person who leaves because you respected yourself, because you had boundaries, because you valued yourself, the right person to build something real with? Or was it someone who needed a spineless man she could control? The loss, in this case, is not a loss. It's a filter. It's life protecting you from investing years in a relationship that would never satisfy you, that would never respect you, that would drain your energy until you became an empty shell of the man you could have been. And here's the temporal ultimatum. Every day that passes reinforcing old patterns makes it harder to change. Neuroplasticity works both ways. You can strengthen neural pathways of self-respect and healthy boundaries, or you can continue strengthening pathways of reactivity and validation seeking. Each repetition consolidates. Tomorrow will be like today unless you do something different today. In the next 72 hours, you will have your chance. You will be tested. And how you respond will define not only that interaction, but the trajectory of your next few months. Do you continue to be the man she tests because she knows he will accept it? Or do you become the man she rethinks everything about, who she reevaluates, who she begins to fear losing because she realized he has standards, that he respects himself, that he doesn't need her more than she needs him? Let me give you something to do right now. Go to the comments and share an experience. A moment when you felt you lost control of the dynamic. A moment when you were disrespected, tested, diminished. And then write what you wish you had said or done differently, applying the principles you learned here. Not for me, for you. Because the act of writing, of articulating, of imagining the correct response begins to create the neural pathway you will use the next time the real situation appears. You are reprogramming. You are rehearsing. And when the time comes, you won't have to think. You will act from the new identity you have begun to build now. The man you respect lives on the other side of the fear of losing someone who doesn't value you. And the only way to get there is by crossing over. 72 hours. The clock has already started. What will you do?